Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Danny, and today, Great.com talks with Sarah Hall, who works as a project and events manager at Midway USA Foundation. Now, if you haven't heard about them yet, they are a public charity working to sustain and grow shooting sports by providing long-term funding to youth shooting teams. But before we go there, remember, if you're new here, press subscribe on YouTube or in your podcast app. Hi, Sarah. Welcome.
Hi, Danny. Thank you.
It's going to be our pleasure. I was telling you before we start recording that I feel like I'm about to be very educated and I'm really looking forward about this. But let us begin by knowing more about you, about your story. How did you get in touch and start working there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in youth shooting sports. So I'm very passionate about what I do here because I feel like I can relate so much to all of the kids and the teams that we are out there assisting. When I was 8 years old, I started in a 4-H program and kind of worked my way up through the ranks, you could say, I guess, of youth shooting sports. I shot in college on a NCAA rifle team. I also met my husband, who was on a rifle team as well. We have worked in shooting sports for a long time together. My husband's still very active competitor himself. He most recently was in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. And so shooting has very much been a big part of my professional and personal life.
Wow, that's wonderful. And
Yes.
I'm actually happier by the fact that you actually made your life around it, right? Meeting a significant person in your life. And this tells a lot about the connections that you can make, right? And now, how did the organization begin? This is something that is really interesting, I think.
Yeah, so we're a really unique organization. We started in around 2007. Larry and Brenda Potterfield, so they are the owners of Midway USA. Midway USA is an online retail store for everything outdoors, hunting, fishing, shooting supplies. But Larry and Brenda personally started Midway USA Foundation. We're unrelated to the retail part of the name. We just have a similar name, but not related. We're a nonprofit that helps support youth shooting sports. Larry and Brenda, very, very generous benefactors of ours, noticed that youth shooting sports doesn't receive funding like other sports, football teams or baseball teams. Shooting is a actual sport. I mean, you have trap teams or rifle pistol teams, but oftentimes they're not related to high school schools in a way that they can receive some of that funding. And so they started Midway USA Foundation in order to help those teams have the support that they would need to do things like go out and learn about safe firearm handling and go to tournaments. A lot of the times the youth that are on a shooting sports team don't participate in other sports. They're not on the football team or playing volleyball, things like that. They find kind of their niche in shooting sports, and they wanted them to have the support and the availability to participate in that just as they would in anything else.
Oh, got it. And now just a question out of my curiosity here. As you were speaking, I was wondering which activities would qualify under these shooting sports, because does that include like archery or not?
Yes, so shooting sports here is rifle, pistol, and shotgun teams. So we work with all of those different disciplines, but also any affiliation. So there's several different organizations that often kind of have a shooting sport. Sometimes it's like a high school club or 4-H, which is how I started. Things like FFA, Junior ROTC. There's different organizations that have a program that you can go through shooting sports, and we support all of them. So Midway USA Foundation will work with any type of organization in any discipline as long as it's rifle, pistol, and shotgun. And then we primarily do high school and college age teams. So we don't do anything through adulthood, and we don't do anything for very, very young clubs.
Oh, got it. Got it. That's a very good clarification, actually. And now, in terms of this help that you offer, how is that structured? Do you have programs going on? Tell me about this.
Yes, absolutely. So we manage endowment accounts for teams and organizations. This is a really unique structure, and often we go through an education process with all the teams out there that we're working with. So let's say you are with a high school club and you have a youth shooting team. You can set up an endowment with us, and we help you fundraise to donate into this endowment. We have lots of different programs. I'm sure we'll get into all of those. But essentially, let's say you do a fundraiser and you donate to Midway USA Foundation, kind of in the name of your team endowment. 100% of that donation goes to your team. We are very unique in that we do not take anything out for operating, and then we match those donations. So we're even adding in a little bit of money to your team endowment account to help it grow. Then every year, the teams can take an annual cash grant. So this is a grant available to the team every year for the existence for forever, forever funding. For as long as this team is operating, they get this annual cash grant to help them pay for things like ammo or travel or equipment that they might need. So investing in this account now allows them to have funding well into the future. And we have endowments that started with us very early and have taken advantage of a lot of our programs that are now over $1 million. So they're receiving a very large cash grant to help them supplement all of the different expenses that they have throughout the year.
Wow, those are really robust things. I'm really impressed about it. And in that sense, those teams, they must be referred from schools, from their colleges. Can just one person apply for this? How does that operate?
Yeah, so they could be coming from anywhere, again, any of those organizations or affiliations that they have, schools, 4-H, other programs. A team has to be more than one individual shooter. So we do focus on shooting as a team event. And so as long as they have more than one person, at least two to make a team, they have a coach, and then they are planning on a sustainable team that will be around a long time, then they're eligible for a team endowment. Those endowments are free to set up. There's no charge or minimums or things required. This is not like a checking or savings account. We're not like a bank. It is a different program than that. So anyone can set up these team endowments. And we also work with organizations, maybe a state or national level organization that's mission works with youth shooting sports. We also manage endowments for them as well.
Wow, I got it. And now just going to make a quick pause here just to tell people to go to our website, which is midwayusafoundation.org. You can check all of this information there. You can see how they are structured as we've been talking here. We're going to talk more, but just to give you a heads up. And I found in there a very interesting tool for the teams that you have a sort of calculator, if I'm not wrong, to help out set this endowment. How does that work?
Yeah, so that's kind of a new tool on our website. Sometimes people will say, a very valid question, why would I donate to my team endowment at Midway USA Foundation? I'm doing this really hard work to fundraise. I need to keep it with my team right now. So that calculator shows you if you make even some small donations into the endowment to get it started with our matching program and also the earnings that go into this account. Midway USA Foundation manages over $250 million in endowed assets. So we have a lot of strength in that we can have those earnings go back into the team endowment account. So when all those things start adding up and you start taking that annual cash grant, putting some numbers in and saying, let's say I'm going to donate $100 a year, or let's say I can get 10 donors to donate $100. How is that going to impact the growth of my endowment? And what's that look like in the form of an annual cash grant? That calculator can show you exactly what those numbers look like and how easily you can start adding up to have a really big impact on your program. And then, long-term view, what we're looking at here is if you did that effort today, think 5 years from now, how that's going to help the team, or 10 years from now, or when I think back to when I was a shooter and I was 8 years old, 20 years from now, that team still being there, and maybe even having your own kids come back into the program and get some of those skills that you were able to experience through youth shooting sports. So that's really the what that calculator is showing you, but also kind of what our goal is with those endowment accounts.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned this because, well, again, I'm completely ignorant about this whole thing. But what the idea that I had about when I was looking at this calculator is this idea of building something for the future, because it's not just about finding means to go to an event right now or to buy ammo for this training. It's about building up this buffer, let's say, of funding so we can keep this going, and that shows on the way that you arrange your not only your support but the resources that you provide to the teams. I got that idea right then.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And sometimes it's, working in this every day, hard to remember. It's not just about the donations coming in today and what we're doing for events today, but it really is all about that long-term funding and what this is going to look like in the future. Youth shooting sports has so many benefits that you can't receive from other sports. It's just so unique in that you are sort of doing this as an individual, going out on the line and practicing to develop your own skills. You just have to develop so much confidence in yourself to do a sport like this. But then shooting also has that team aspect to it, and that there's other team members, and oftentimes there's a team score that you're adding up to try and win a tournament. I mean, the discipline and confidence part of it is just so interesting, and I think really unique to shooting sports. And so we're trying to give the kids of today and also tomorrow the chance to experience all of that.
Wow, that's great. I'm really being educated. I loved it. And now you mentioned other programs, and I know that we have like other ways for people to get grants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain more about this to us, please?
Yes. So not only do we have the Team Cash grant, where teams are receiving money from their endowment account, but we also have two totally separate grant programs that our endowment holders are eligible to apply for. So when Larry and Brenda were developing Midway USA Foundation, they realized, what does youth shooting sports need? Well, we need funding for all of these expenses. And if they have funding to go out and get ammo and go to travel to these tournaments, what else do they need to be successful? Well, they need ranges. They need a place to go. So we now offer a range development grant. And they also need coaches because they need to be trained in order to be good athletes and also be safe with what they're doing. So we also offer a coach training grant. So those two grants, coach training and range development, are separate from our team endowments. It doesn't pull from that, team endowment funding. Again, donations going to the team is always of the donor's choice. But we also just offer teams the option to, if they need some funding to help do coaches or make improvements on their range, they can come to us for those needs as well.
Nice. And in that point, I know that you mentioned a few things as you spoke, but do you have an idea of the impact that the organization has made so far? Like maybe not the numbers, but I would be happy to know.
Yes, so I think we have awarded, we actually just paid out some Team Cash grants, so our number is going up, but over $43 million in cash grants since our inception. So pretty large impact in the shooting sports community. And a lot of that is with teams and organizations, because that's our bread and butter, and that's what we've been doing for the longest amount of time. We just started with the coach training grants. We have paid, I want to say, $500,000 in the last 2 years for coach training. And then we also have done 2 years of range development grants. Over $1 million have gone out for developing ranges all across the country. I don't know if I've said yet, but we're in all 50 states. We are a national organization, and so we're working with teams all over the place.
Well, that's just incredible. And now with this, how do you see yourselves in the future? Maybe in 5 to 10 years, something like this.
Yeah, so we just keep growing. Things that we're doing, we have now introduced special events into our kind of curriculum of things that we offer. And so we're hosting sporting clays tournaments across the country, hosting some other fundraisers so that teams in the area can come to one of our events. And whether, let's say it's sporting clays, that's just a good example because people understand that in terms of fundraising. The registration that they do for this event is actually a donation to their team endowment account. So again, everything we do is just to help those teams learn how to fundraise, and then also us to provide programs that we can do because we're a national organization to grow their team endowment accounts. We offer free fundraising products for teams. And so we know that teams are out there fundraising regardless if they're doing it for their endowment or not. One of the really special things that we can offer is we have great sponsors from the industry that are giving us products at a discount so that we can offer them to teams for free. We literally give the teams these items at no cost. They never pay for them. And we say, go out and do a fundraiser, whatever works best in your community. Let's say that's a raffle. They go out, do a raffle. Whatever they raise from that product, we ask they send half to the endowment, helps them grow for that forever funding. but keep the rest of it. Keep the other half for your current expenses. We know that you're buying ammo, and we know that you have to get team shirts and all this equipment, and your trap broke and you need to fix it. All those things cost money now. So from this free product that's never coming off your bottom line, you're never paying for, you're gaining some access to cash on hand while also putting some away into the endowment account. And that's one of our most popular programs that we have, just because of the flexibility with how you fundraise. And that program is growing, and we're able to offer more diverse products and unique products to teams. So we started these programs kind of small, and now looking to the future, to answer your question, 5 years from now, these things just keep getting better, and they keep getting bigger, and we have more teams taking advantage of them. Right now, we've got about 2,800 team endowment accounts and another 70 organizational accounts for those state and national youth shooting sports groups, and that number just keeps growing as well. So we're excited to see exactly how big this impact can be. And you add in coach training and range development, great numbers, and it's amazing to see how much we've been able to do in kind of a relatively short amount of time.
Well, absolutely. I see this. It's absolutely incredible to see. And in that sense, what are the ways that we, not organizations only, but people, normal people, regular people, can help you keep going? What is the best way to support you?
Yeah, so what's so unique about the foundation is no matter where you're at, no matter where you're listening from right now, there's probably a youth shooting team near you. Whether you're aware of it or not, there might be one at the high school or the local gun club, or there's a Boy Scouts, there's an American Legion, and we have access, this is public information on our website to show you where those teams are. So if you are on our website, you can go find a team, fund a team, and search around your state, around your city. You can do a zip code radius, and you might even recognize that's my local high school. I had no idea they had an air rifle team or a trap team. And there is a donate button on every team page so that you can select the team you want to donate. Again, it goes to that team's endowment. So we don't take that donation and spread it across all of the teams in your state or all the teams that we're working with. We allow our donor to choose that they want to support someone in their local community. It's a very unique situation that we can be a national nonprofit but have such a local feel with many of our team endowment accounts. So there's always the donate option for individuals that feel inclined to help support youth shooting sports. And then we also have, like I mentioned, our fundraising product. So if you are someone that works in an outdoor industry where you have product to donate, we can always use that to help fund teams on a larger scale across the nation. So, and then I would have to put a plug in there for our special events. That's what I'm now working on. We're having these all across the country as well. So checking out our special event page and seeing if there's one near you, you can come and actually kind of participate with us and have some fun while you're supporting youth shooting sports.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah. That was a great talk. I loved it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. And for everybody listening, also thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this episode, remember to press subscribe on YouTube or in your podcast app, because that will show the algorithms that this is an important conversation. And then more people can learn about the importance of the Midway USA Foundation. Go check it out, their website, donate if you can, learn more about it. And well, I see you at the next episode. Bye.